3. So my 2x intercepts are x equals 1 and negative 3. How many got that correct?
For that one, you always distribute the 5 and get the 3 into it.
You could distribute the 5 into it, yeah. I think that's a little more work than you need to do. But you could. How many got this one right? Good. Okay, example 5. This one, we have a coefficient in front of x squared, so we need to use bottoms up. So the first thing we're going to do, though, is set the whole thing equal to 0. Okay. And then to do bottoms up, or it's also called over under, we multiply 7 times 3, so that's going to give me 0 equals x squared minus 10x plus 21. We want to factor that, so that's going to give me x plus what? I need two things that multiply. Negative what? Negative 3 times x minus 7. Good. Okay, and then we go under, so x minus 3 over 7 times x minus 7 over 7. These reduce, right? So we would get x equals, or 0 equals, I'm sorry, 7x minus 3 times x minus 1. Is that what you got? Yes. Okay. So we have two factors here. Seven x minus 3 equals 0. And x minus 1 equals 0. This one's easy, so I'm going to do it first. Add 1 to both sides. X equals 1. And then the red one is a two-step. So we add 3 to both sides. 7x equals 3. Divide both sides by 7. X equals 3 over 7. Who got those two correct? Very nice. Okay, so what we're going to be able to do is we're going to be able to use these to sketch our parabolas a little bit more accurately. Okay, so what we can do is find the x and y intercepts and use that to sketch our parabolas. Okay, so we have 2 more examples and then we're done. Alright, example 6, this time we're going to try and be a little bit more accurate. So we need to do the same things to sketch our parabola, but this time we're going to add the other step of finding the intercepts. Okay, so let's still find the vertex first. Okay, so I'm going to label it vertex to try and keep my work neat. Okay, and to find the x value of the vertex, what's that equation that I need to plug in? Negative b over 2a. So that would give me negative, what's my b? Positive 7. So negative 7 over 2 times, what's the a? There's nothing there, so it's just a 1. So the x value in my vertex is negative 7 over 2. To find the y value, I plug it back into the equation, so I would have negative 7 over 2 squared plus 7 times negative 7 over 2 plus 12. So y equals negative 7 over 2, all of that squared. What's negative 7 squared? 49. Over 2 squared, which is 4, plus 7 times negative 7 over 2. What's that going to give me? Negative 49 over 2 this time, plus 12. Okay, so now we need to add these things. But I don't have common denominators. So how can I get this negative 49 over 2 to have a common denominator? Exactly. I multiply the bottom and the top by 2. So that would give me 49 over 4 minus 49 times 2, 98 over 4 plus 12, but let's put it as with the denominator 4. So what's that going to give me? If I want to make 12 have a denominator of 4, I need to multiply 12 by 4, which would give me 48, right? Okay, so let's add these guys. 49 minus 98. That's negative 49 over 4 plus 48 over 4. So what's my y going to be? Negative 1 over 4. So my vertex, the x value is negative 7 over 2. The y is negative 1 over 4. I'm going to box that so I don't lose it. So let's graph that. Negative 7 over 2, that's 3.5, right? Yeah? So x is negative 3.5, so 1, 2, 3 in the middle. And the y value is negative 1/4, so we're just going to go down a quarter of the way. So my vertex is going to be somewhere right there. About. Okay, so I'm going to label that my vertex. Negative 7 over 2, negative 1/4. Okay. Let's find the x and y intercepts now to make our graph a little bit more accurate. Okay, so I'm going to, or not the y-intercepts, I'm sorry, just the x-intercepts. So let's find the x-intercepts. How do I find the x-intercepts? I set y equal to 0. So we have x squared, 0 equals x squared plus 7x plus 12. And to solve for x here, I need to do what? What do I want to do here? I want to, starts with an F? Factor. So I want to factor this. I'm going to come up here. So we would have 0 equals, how do I factor x squared plus 7x plus 12? What are two numbers that multiply to 12, thank you, and add up to 7x? 3 and 4, good. So we have x plus 3 times x plus 4. So can anybody tell me what x equals without having to do all that work? Negative 3 and negative 4. So let's graph those two. So if I have x at negative 3, 1, 2, 3, I'm going to put a point there, and x at negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is a really skinny one, right? Let's graph it. If I'm going through the vertex, if I have to go through the vertex and through that x-intercept, I'm going to make a curved line through that one and a curved line through that one. So I have a kind of skinny parabola here. I'm going to label my x-intercepts. This is x equals negative 4, and this is x equals negative 3. Okay. Line of symmetry. Line of symmetry is going to be y equals the x value of my vertex. What's the x value of my vertex? Negative 7 over 2. So we want to draw that straight through the vertex. Y equals negative 7 over 2. And this parabola is going up. Is that correct? Look at our A here. Is the A positive? Yeah, so we should be curving up, which we are. What happened? It's weird. Okay. Hold on a second. Alright, and if we are curving upwards, do I have a maximum value or a minimum value? A minimum. Where is that minimum? Right here at the vertex. So we have a minimum value at the vertex point, which is -7/2, -1/4. Okay? Alright, so on example 7, I haven't graphed it yet. Example 7, I plugged in -b/2a, and after all that work, I got x equals -3/2. Is that what you guys got? Okay, then I plugged -3/2 back into the original equation. I put all of the work on the board, but after all of that, I got y equals -49/2. Serious. Okay? So my vertex is at -3/2, -49/2, which, if we change those to mixed numbers, I got -1.5 for the x and -24.5 for the y, which means on my graph, I had to change my scale. So along the x-axis, I still am going by 1s. Along the y-axis, I'm going by 3s. Okay, so in the x direction, I have -1.5. So -1.5, we're going to be somewhere right here. And -24.5 is going to take me, if I go by my scale, -3, -6, -9, -12, 15, -18, -21, -24.5 is going to be right here. So -1.5. So my vertex is going to be right here in quadrant number 3. Okay, so that's my vertex. So to graph, to graph my parabola, I first find my vertex using all of this algebra stuff, and then I just plot the point there at the vertex. Okay, so here's my vertex. Okay, then I found the x-intercepts. So x-intercepts, I got x equals -5 and x equals 2. Did you guys get those? Okay, so we're going to plot those along which axis? The x-axis or the y? Very good, the x-axis. So -5 is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I put 1 point at x equals -5. And then I put 1 point at x equals 2. 1, 2. So I have 2 points here. X-intercept at x equals -5 and x-intercept at x equals +2. Okay, and we should be right in the middle, correct? Okay, to graph this, ignore that please, I just draw my curves through the vertex and through the x-intercepts. Okay, where is my line of symmetry? It's straight through the vertex, so we do need to draw that line of symmetry. Which is at y equals -49/2. Okay, guys, it's not time to pack up yet. Is this a minimum or a maximum value? Thank you, a minimum value. So for this problem, we do have a minimum value. Okay? Yeah, the minimum or the maximum is always just going to be the vertex.